JB here. Thursday, May 15th, 317. Talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from the S&P in the green. Who would have thought it? Looking for 4 sessions in a row, pending, knock on wood, any end of day reversal. SPY is right at the 590 handle. Impressive stuff. I'll write the headlines this morning, right? We had with the data, retail sales, and you had PPI, and spin it as you may. I mean, it seemed like the headlines like, oh, this the enthusiasm over the trade agreement is fading, and then you had all the stuff with Saudi Arabia and the Gulf states and those investments. All that excitement is waning. Folks are taking profits, and then we gap lower, right? And the S&P was down 0.75% pretty much at the open, and boom, found some support. And I have the wrong slide up, but let's see here. 10 o'clock hit lows 585 again. My thing's going really slow here. I apologize. Sorry about that, folks. 585 at about 9:45, then 585 again at 10:45, and then that was it. No news, no catalyst really to speak of. Just a virus came in and boom, hit highs all the way at about 115. So impressive stuff. Rewrite those headlines. Three session winning streak coming to an end. Nope. It looks like we're going to have four sessions to the upside, and this is on the heels of the 9-day historic rally we had 2 weeks ago. So impressive stuff. And then we go into tomorrow. There's not much in the way of major earnings after the close. I think Applied Materials. I have to go look some of them, but not a lot of names. So outside of that, it's hard pressed to think what other catalysts may move markets here besides headline driven stuff. And with POTUS back, now you have to think he's going to do some kind of press conference with a trade deal. If I'm a betting person, it's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen. Maybe it happens over the weekend. Maybe it happens Monday. It's going to happen soon. So I don't know if that'll be the next catalyst. But like I was saying it last week with the UK deal, it kind of like set the framework, right, for how these things are going to progress. And it's not like they're coming to sign on a dotted line and have the exact details out, but more or less like a generalization of these deals. So as long as those continue to happen, I think at least the market can find some footing here. It's funny again too. If you read the headlines, it's like people just still don't think the market can rally, right? So today it is, so tomorrow's monthly option expiration. If you haven't traded long enough back in the day, there was only three. The third Friday of the month was the option expiration for all stocks, right? There was no dailies, right? There were no weekly options. I know that's hard to wrap your head around, but so it always used to be a very important day. I mean, it still is, but today, there's an article. Oh, the rally's going to come to a halt because of the May option expiration. Supposedly market makers have been hedging the huge amount of call buying since the April 8th lows, April 7th lows, and because of that, they hedged, and those, it's going to cause some fluctuations and volatility tomorrow. And now that those hedges are off, it's going to allow the market to be more volatile next week. Maybe, right? I mean, you hear these stories day after day, year after year. One of them is right out of the hundreds you read. So I don't know what to read into that. But to me, it's just another one of those little articles that makes you click because it says rally screeching to a halt. You don't need to even read the rest of it, and it's trying to get you to click. And then you look at the little graphs they put up, and it's like little data, and it just shows the amount of options on the different, because it's typically on option expiration. You have futures, you have index options, and then you have just your regular stock options, right? And it has a list of all the amounts, the dollar amounts that are supposed to expire. I think it's like 3 point something trillion, which is notional value, right? So if you take the stock and multiply it by the option contract, so it's like the slide looks identical to any other option expiration, but to the naked eye, the market's going to come to a screeching halt tomorrow. All right. So that's the SPY. I talked about on Monday. Of course, I would love to see the SPY close over 590 and head to 600 tomorrow. That'd be phenomenal, right? I don't. I think there's gonna be chop, right? I mean, and I didn't think we were gonna get over 590 today. We got up to 591 pretty much on the SPY, but maybe some more chop tomorrow. And if there's a close over 590 into tomorrow, that's great. But I'll be content with the chop and a close of like 588 tomorrow. I think that will be a win for this week, and then that sets things up into next week. Let's see here. And the upper Bollinger Band is now 597. So that's a good sign as well. And then just some other things to know. Like yesterday, the VIX was green and the market was higher, but it was choppy. Today it was red. And even when we had the market sell off, the VIX was almost flat. So it's kind of like something, I always keep my eye on the VIX. Sometimes it works, right? A lot of times over the last year and a half, it seemed like, especially September, October, it was elevated. And I'm like, why is this elevated? More so, I guess, into the election, possible policy situations with the new administration. And then I'm trying to think of somebody else, but most times when it's at historical levels, it's definitely something to watch. All right, that's the VIX, and then the amount of stock trading over there, 50-day and 200-day moving average up again. So I mean, 70 something percent on the 50-day moving average, and the amount over there, 200-day moving average up another 6%. So trend is your friend, all good stuff. All right, so now individual names. So despite the green session today, this morning was rough, right? I mean, there was a lot of names that, especially ones that I'm in, some of the momentum names, the names that have really done well over the last, even just the last 4 days, taken on the chin. No news, no catalyst. There wasn't like some kind of headline out of Google or NVIDIA or DeepSeek or what have you. So it was kind of like frustrating. So looking at Reddit yesterday before the close, I'm like, I think this has resumption possibilities. Breaks over 126, back over. I think it heads over 136 this week. And then sure enough, gaps lower. It's 120. The option market's not even open. And then by the time it opens, I'm looking at the last of my 130 strikes. I'm like, I'll just hold them. And then there was weakness. And once it started breaking 120, I said, let me get the rest of the calls out. It's already been a very nice trade. And I didn't want to see the rest of the calls go red, so I closed them out for a small gain. And then sure enough, Reddit embarks on just a nasty sell-off, was down nearly, was it 14% earlier? I have to go look. No, maybe it was down 10%. And then you start looking, and the contracts on the flip side, once it started hitting around mid-afternoon, they looked interesting for a bounce. So I went and got some Reddit spec lotto calls for a bounce into tomorrow. Who knows? Obviously they're red from where I got them now, but you never know. There could be an upgrade. There could be kind of some catalyst. The thing that kind of gets me, it looks like Kramer positively mentioned the stock yesterday and talked about it, which I didn't see until now, or earlier. So I'm like, did he put the hex on it? Hopefully not. And if it is, hopefully it's a 1-day hex and then it can resume its run. But another nice move for Reddit yesterday, and then today just disappointing. This brings me to Solar Edge here. So Solar Edge, you're looking at, I was looking for it to squeeze in sympathy with First Solar on Monday, and then I got those calls, and then I just didn't follow through. So hold on one second. And there were some issues with the tax bill coming out too on Monday afternoon, and I was just surprised. And then it kind of held its ground. It's a highly shorted name, 33% short interest, and then it's just resuming today. I mean, I don't see any news, no catalyst. To me, that's a good sign, and it's holding the gains here. It's almost pretty much trading right at the highs of the day. So I normally don't go out and average down on positions. So I got the June strikes on Monday, and then I was trying to find some other strikes to play for further upside today, and I'm looking at the Mays, and there's weekly strikes I can get, but I'm like, I kind of like the ones I have. The only other strike I might have got would maybe the 2750s, but I don't want to be in a spot where I have two separate ones, and the fact that I can cut a little cost off the contract, so I went and averaged down on the 30s. I have to go look back the last couple times I've done average downs. I think they all paid out. So hopefully we have deja vu all over again here with Solar Edge. But you take a look, I think it's 2162 was Monday's high. Once that breaks, it's 2370 from back in February. And again, it's these stories, especially in solar, right? A lot of it's driven by incentives and the diminished policies and all those things. And you look at Solar Edge, and I think all that's kind of like baked in. It's been absolutely destroyed over the last couple of years. I think it's down like 74% year over year. Uh, and it just had its earnings, has a new CFO, and yeah, I just think there's a lot of things going for it. So even if it catches just a little fire, gets up into the 22 range, 23 range, if it breaks that 2162, I should be able to lock some of my calls into cover costs, and I'll ride the rest. And you never know. This could be one of those names. I mean, who would have thought when I'm looking at First Solar a week ago, when it was at 140 on Friday, that it would trade up near $200 come Monday, Tuesday, right? I'm not saying a similar thing or deja vu is going to happen here with Solar Edge, but I mean, it's got ingredients, it's got potential, right? That's the thing. When I look at Solar Edge, it's not like I look at Solar Edge and say, "Wow, it can trade up to $23." If you look at it, I think it gets some momentum. It could trade over $30. So that's the thought process there. And here comes the SPY doing its late day fade, just like it did yesterday. All right, so that's Solar Edge. Just a couple other names here. So Caterpillar, same in regards to a sympathy move. So you have John Deere reporting great earnings this morning, stocks spiking. I was surprised that Caterpillar, so then I was looking for a sympathy move, and Caterpillar was one of my favorite names at the start of the year. Had that nice move to over $400, made some nice money on the calls. And then you had it, Caterpillar was all the way down under $300 on Liberation Day, and it's bounced nicely. But now it seems like it was stuck at the 200-day moving average. So I went and I go pull up the chart as Deere's running. I said, wow, Cat looks like if it breaks 354, it's off to the races. I was looking for some decent risk reward lottos. Uh, Looked like it was going to break free at 351 and take off. It didn't. Tomorrow's another day. I mean, obviously need a big move, but it's done it before. That was the kind of thought process there on Caterpillar. Other names here, VKTX is actually solidly green here. I was looking at the August 65 still. They're like 50 cents. I'll probably wait one more day to tomorrow and add those strikes. GameStop, I was just saying GameStop had the most boring 5 session rally in recent memory. And then what does it do? Polls at the open. I think it was down like 4% at times. Now did it go green yet? It was flat just a little while ago. Still has the golden cross, still waiting for an update. So I'm not going to add anything on GameStop till that situation changes. Did it go green yet? I can't see. Nope, still down 1%. And then just quick on other names. I mean, everybody's talking about United Healthcare, but everybody's talking about United Healthcare at the start of the week and the week before, right? And so just a monster. I mean, $600 stock in April, all the way cut in half, and then sold off even more after that news last night. Tough one for me to try and trade. I mean, at some point it's going to bounce, right? You have to think, and then usually it's going to, it's already off the lows. I keep mentioning the other insurers like Cigna. Cigna would be a name that would interest me, right? It's under its 50 and 200-day moving average. Maybe some 320 calls for a bounce. So don't be surprised if I add some spec lottos tomorrow at the open. And same with RH, Deck, Wayfair, and Way actually looked pretty good this morning. No, this afternoon. My thing is going really slow here. I don't know why that is. Oh, it's off the high. But everything seems to be fading here with 30 minutes left in the day. Roku, similar story, right? Looked great at the open, faded all the way down, sold off to 69 and change, then looked great into the afternoon, all the way back up almost flat. And then here it is, pulling back another dollar. So I'll still hold those calls into the close. Another name, NetEase. I don't know if I've talked about NetEase. I mean, it's been years. I used to trade that one a lot. It's like the gaming behemoth in China. And I mean, it's kind of been like languishing for years, similar to what's happened with Baidu, right? But it's a great story. And finally it has some great earnings, and the stock was going bonkers this morning. I almost pulled the trigger on like 125s. I think they were 65 cents. I don't even want to look what they are now. They're probably not up too much. And then I was looking at the weekly 130s. I almost pulled the trigger 30 cents and 35 and 40. Thankfully, I didn't do that, but definitely a name, especially if markets find footing, could look for some later strikes there. And that's it, folks. I'm having technical issues here. Let's see. Testing. All right, let's have a great day, folks. I'll be back. Rock and roll.